What's up? This is Justin Gordon, mental health therapist. This is the second in a two-part series of videos about energy tapping. In the last video, I gave you a general idea of what tapping is, and now we're going to use a scenario and I'm going to run down through how I do it with my clients, and you can actually do this one by yourselves at home. Which is another reason why I really like this technique. I do some things where I say, no, absolutely do not try this thing at home. It can be dangerous. This one is great because it's really not dangerous. I tell most people, look, you need to try this at home. It's really simple, can be really effective on a lot of different things. And again, like I said last time, it's gonna get a little weird. That being said, this is actually one of the coolest things that I do. I have seen some really cool responses from people, and I have actually seen people get a lot of relief really quickly. All right, so as I said, there are different points we will tap on. There are many more. These are the ones that I use as taught to me by some mentors. Again, these points are used in acupuncture, acupressure. Think of it like a light switch. We're tapping on a point just like we touch a light switch so that something else happens in a different place in the body, just like a light bulb will turn on in a spot other than where we hit the light switch. All right, so the scenario that I used was, say I got into a car accident and now I can no longer drive without having a ton of anxiety. We'll choose a setup statement for each of these things. Remember, there are three things you gotta fill in our setup statement. One is the feeling that you're working on. The next thing is what's causing it. And the third thing is your positive and realistic response to those things. So in this example, we're going to keep it simple. Even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. So anxiety is the feeling, driving is what's causing it, and I'm okay is my positive and realistic response to that. Then I'll tell people, look, go ahead, hold that image in your mind. I'll give you about 4 or 5 seconds. And then once they've sat with that, I say, okay, now how disturbing does that feel to you right now on a scale of 0 to 10, right? And so they'll give me a number. And then what we do is we go through a round of tapping. I'll do that same thing and I'll say, okay, now how disturbing does that feel? Obviously, the idea being that number kind of lowers as we go. It gets less disturbing, less intense, this feeling as we go. Now, another big key to this one is don't think about it too much. We're not trying to get too cerebral here, just mostly feel. So they've given me a number. Then what we'll do is we'll start with the points. Okay, so the very first one, it's called the karate chop point. Okay. It's going to be right here, right where you would karate chop somebody if you were to karate chop somebody. So if you fold the hand over, there's a crease right there. That's where the point is, okay? So then we do the tapping. It's not thumping, okay? You're just tapping. And then for each phrase, I'm going to repeat my statement. Even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay, okay? Then I'll move to the next point, which is here, middle of the top of the head. This one gets a little bit weird for some people. And I'll say the same thing. Even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. And then I'll move to the next one right here. This is in the inside of either eyebrow, right where it starts, not the center here, but inside touching the eyebrow. Even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. The next spot is here at the corner of either eye. Even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. The next spot, this is a good one, is right here under the eye. Make sure it's on that bone that goes around the eye. And this is our anxiety spot. And I'd say, even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. This is a particularly good spot, especially right now where I'm dealing with anxiety. Again, here's the light switch. The circuitry goes up from both spots here. They join, goes back down across the top of the head, down along the backbone, up into the stomach, where a lot of us hold anxiety, that sort of butterflies in the stomach feeling, okay? That's where the light bulb is, so to say, in the stomach. So you can use either side, and most of the time what I'll have people do on this one is stay here. You can use one hand or you can use two. I'll have people stay here after they've said the statement, just keep tapping it, and I'll say, okay, take a deep breath into your stomach like we do, and I show you how I like to breathe in a separate video. So deep breath into the stomach, and then have people nice and easy just let that go. We're not in a hurry on the out breath. We're not trying to get to the end of the out breath. We're just sort of in the process of breathing out. Okay, you notice how I'm still on the same out breath, not in a hurry. Okay. And then we'll move on to the next spot, which is right here, above the upper lip, below the nose. Even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. The next spot, even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. The next spot is here. It's underneath either collarbone on either side, closer to the center of the chest, not on the collarbone, not above it. It's underneath it, not out here, but close to the center. Okay. And then I'll repeat my same phrase, even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. Okay, and then we're not trying to hurry and race down through these points. We're just sort of listening, feeling, checking in. Okay, and the next spot is down here in the side. It's about 4 inches below the armpit. And same thing, even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. Okay. The next spot, called the gamut spot, it's in the back of the hand. It's in between the bones from the ring finger and the pinky finger, that little divot in there. And even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. Okay, and the last spot is a favorite. It's called the heart hold. For this one, we put the non-tapping hand right on the center of the chest and take the whole tapping hand and place it on top. Use the whole hand for tapping. This one actually can target a lot of different zones. It is a soothing spot in particular. Good one to end on. Good one to do by itself if you can't remember the others. Okay. Then even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay. And then just like I did with the anxiety spot under the eyes, I have people linger on this one. And then I say, okay, take another good breath into the stomach. And then nice and easy, kind of let this one go. Not in a hurry, just kind of being present with yourself, being present in the out breath, not trying to get to the end, just taking your time on the out breath, okay? And I usually have people take 2 or 3 breaths on that spot. I'll save you that for purposes of this video. So there's one round through the 11 spots. What I tell people at this point is, again, okay, bring up that image. I'll give you 4 or 5 seconds to just sit with that. Then I'll have them scale how disturbing that emotion is now that they've brought it up, brought it to their mind. Say, okay, how disturbing does that feel? 0 to 10. And then they give me a number and we see if that's caused any movement. Now, and this part is really cool, then I'll say, okay, what thoughts or feelings or physical sensations came up at any point? And I'll try to just leave that really open-ended. Now, usually what happens is somebody will say, I felt something on, say, this spot, or I felt something on this spot, or this spot, something definitely shifted. This is the part where we sort of use that as an open door to go down a different route, to determine where we go from there. Now, it's hard to say what that's going to be. It can be different for everybody, different for one person from one time to the next. So this is a really important place to just sort of be in tune with your body, just check in with it, and let your body decide where you're going to go from here. So if you did happen to feel something in a particular spot, maybe it's because you're feeling intensely a certain emotion that corresponds to that particular spot, and you need to do some extra work on that spot. So you can always linger there and go through a second or a third or fourth time, whatever, and repeat the same thing. Even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I'm okay, right? Or you can change it to what you say, even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I feel something shifting, or this is doing some good, or I feel something changing, or I am feeling calmer. So pay attention to your body. It's going to tell different people different things, and it's going to tell you different things probably each time. Okay, so what you can do then is go through round 2, go through the same 11 spots for round 2, only you change up your setup statement based on whatever you felt on the first round. So it might change to, even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I am feeling a little bit calmer. And then on each spot, I would say that new setup statement based on whatever my body told me the first time. Or you might have had a certain thought like, hey, I really am a pretty good driver. And then you might change your statement to reflect that. Even though I'm feeling anxiety about driving, I know I am a pretty good driver, or something like that. Or you might have had a different kind of physical sensation somewhere in your body that felt better or felt relaxing or just shifted in some way. And then you reflect that in your setup statement for the second round. Now, another important point, you really don't have to remember all of these different points, not necessarily the most important thing. I like to go down through all of them with everybody just to hit them all. If you are feeling anxiety and worry, which is what I tend to focus on quite a bit, these are great. because this is your anxiety spot, always a good one. Your spot for worry is actually right here in the side too. So if you are having a lot of worries, that can be a good one to focus on. And no matter what you do, again, the heart hold is a calming spot. It's for overall soothing and calming. So that can be a good one to hit no matter what, and even if you can't remember any of the other points. So hopefully that doesn't sound too far out there. Again, very Eastern medicine practice, and we're not used to these kind of things yet in the West. But again, keep in mind, this technique is very, very heavily research-based. There is a substantial research body on this that shows this actually works really well on a number of different issues. Definitely science and research-based. All right, that's it for now. Hope this is helpful. Definitely try this at home. It can be very useful for you for a number of different issues. Doesn't take a lot of time or energy. Give it a shot.